Apple has just released some press releases with some new iPads, and I'm honestly shocked. I'm shocked because Apple has never screwed their customers more than now. Like, if you're on Twitter, you probably know what I'm talking about. These new iPads are just, well, you'll find out. There's basically two iPads. So there's a 10th gen and the iPad Pro, and I want to start off with the 10th gen. So on the surface, it looks great. It has an iPad Air-like design without that home button that was leaked in the CAD models, so the design is actually better than what we were expecting. The bezels are slightly thicker than on the iPad Air, but aside from that, it has the same screen size. It comes in 4 beautiful colors. It comes with 5G, USB Type-C, the Apple A14 chip. Even the front camera is now in landscape orientation, which is much better for calls when you have the keyboard connected. So this is basically an iPad Air at this point. So yeah, it looks like a massive and an amazing upgrade. But once you dig deeper, you realize how badly Apple is screwing all of us over. The first reason being the price. So everyone was expecting to see a price increase with this new iPad, but it's way worse than everyone was expecting. So in the US, it goes up from $329 to $449. That's a $120 price increase. But outside of the US, in the UK, for example, it is even worse. So it got bumped from £319 to $499. That's a £180 price increase. Not only that, but the iPad Air used to start from $569. Not anymore, because Apple priced the same iPad Air at £669 now. So it's essentially £100 more in the UK compared to what it used to be just a few days ago. And this is the same iPad Air without any upgrades. So Apple bumped pretty much all the prices outside the US quite significantly. The iPad mini, for example, is now £569 from $479. So that's £90 more in the UK, again, for the exact same model without any changes. But I think the worst thing yet is that the old 9th gen iPad is still around. So Apple has not discontinued that. And in fact, it is even more expensive than it used to be, from $319 to £369. So that is £50 more than it used to cost. Of course, the British pound went down significantly when compared to the dollar because of what's happening in the world right now, same for the euro. But the thing is, Apple only increased the iPad prices, not the Macs or the iPhones or anything else, at least for now. And these price increases are way more significant than what they should have been. The second way in which Apple is screwing us over with this new iPad is the display, which is still not laminated. Apple literally went out of their way to manufacture an iPad Air's display that is not laminated. Apple launched their first laminated display iPad in 2014 with the iPad Air 2, and right now, there is not a single major company that makes non-laminated tablets, aside from Apple. So you would always have this huge air gap between the display and the glass that sits on top. What is even worse is that there is no anti-reflective coating at all. So this screen is basically like a mirror. It's very, very reflective, and it also lacks the P3 color gamut. So it is very likely that Apple simply tweaked the color profile on the iPad Air's display to make it worse and include it into this iPad. The third way in which Apple is screwing us over with this new iPad is the keyboard. So before, with the 9th gen, you could buy the smart keyboard for $159. Now you cannot buy that anymore because they, of course, changed the design of it. So they launched the Magic Keyboard Folio. This is the only option for this new 10th gen iPad, and it costs $249. Outrageous. If you want to buy like a used iPad Pro Magic Keyboard, like I said, that's not supported, so you need to buy this specific one to be able to have a Magic Keyboard. And then number 4, this is definitely the worst. The Apple Pencil. So you would assume that with this new flat design, Apple would introduce support for the 2nd gen Apple Pencil, right? Well, no. Only the 1st gen is supported. But okay, this new iPad now has a USB-C port, so they obviously updated that Lightning port on the Apple Pencil to USB Type-C, right? No, the 1st gen Apple Pencil still comes with a Lightning port, so instead Apple made an adapter for it. This comes in the box of every new Apple Pencil purchase, or $9 if you want to buy it separately if you already own an Apple Pencil. Like, the crazy thing here is that it was likely way more expensive for Apple to design a new adapter, plus box, plus ship it, than simply update the port on the current Apple Pencil to a USB Type-C instead of Lightning. And honestly, that adapter, it looks like it was designed by Apple intentionally to make it the worst possible adapter ever. It doesn't even plug directly into your iPad, as it doesn't have a male USB USB Type-C connector. It's female to female, so you need to use a USB Type-C cable from the iPad to the adapter or the power brick, and then plug the Apple Pencil on the other end. And to top it all off, this Apple Pencil is of course more expensive than before outside of the US. So in the UK, from £89, it is now $109. So $20 increase for a 2015 product. Yes, the Apple Pencil 1st Gen is a 7-year-old product, fun fact. And the fifth way in which Apple is screwing us over with this new iPad is in terms of the cases. So since it doesn't have the same thickness as an iPad Air, it is considerably thicker, 6.1 millimeters compared to 7 on this new iPad, you cannot use an iPad Air case. Not only that, but obviously these new cases are more expensive than they used to be. So before you could buy a case for £49, now the Smart Folio costs £89, which is even more than what it used to cost for the iPad Pro, which was $79. This is so bad, but wait, it gets even worse with the iPad Pro. So the good news is that we get the M2 chip and an Apple Pencil hover feature, which is basically the same as, on a Galaxy Note phone. But that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of the bad news, the first one is that we don't have any design changes. There's no redesign like Mark Gurman was saying, so he was actually wrong here, unfortunately. We don't have any wireless charging, no glass back or glass Apple logo. So yeah, no redesign at all. This is the exact same design from back in 2018. Then the second way in which Apple is screwing us over with this new iPad Pro is the price. So yeah, this new iPad Pro is also more expensive considerably, from £749 in the UK to £900. So that is a £100 increase over the previous model for just that M2 chip. Then number 3, the front-facing camera does not have a landscape orientation like it does on the new 10th Gen iPad. And like I said, this is awesome for calls when you have the keyboard connected, but the thing is, the iPad Pro is supposed to be a pro device, so you would obviously use the keyboard and the trackpad more often and have it in that landscape orientation, unlike the base iPad. But the camera orientation is the same as before, so in calls, it would always look very, very off. Number 4 is that the Magic Keyboard has not been updated. And here's the thing. When Apple introduced the Magic Keyboard Folio for this new 10th Gen iPad, they also added function keys to it, which was awesome. Like, this is something that everyone was asking for. And they look the same as on the Mac. So we have brightness controls, mission control, search, Siri, do not disturb, and media controls. But the iPad Pro's Magic Keyboard, which fun fact is even more expensive than before now, it doesn't have any changes. It doesn't have any function keys, it's still the same design. And number 5, we actually have worse connectivity on this iPad Pro than we had on the previous model. So the GSM and Edge bands have been dropped entirely, which means that in areas where you have a poor signal, you would basically have no signal at all now. And interesting enough, even though they did add Wi-Fi 6E, there's no support for the 6 GHz band, which is what Wi-Fi 6 is for. So is it just Wi-Fi 6E in terms of the name? What? So yeah, overall, the iPads are more expensive, we have downgrades in a lot of cases, and the entry-level iPad is a horrible choice. It has the iPad Air's price, but it doesn't have a laminated display. The Apple Pencil requires a dongle and a cable to charge and pair. Yeah, it's really, really bad. I don't think the iPad lineup has ever been worse. But let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? I'm Daniel, this is ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.